Right, okay. This is a brief little introduction to the planets and what they mean and what signs they attribute to and what houses they attribute to. So, the Sun rules Leo, which is the fifth house of the zodiac. The Sun is all about your sun sign, so your sign that your sun is all about who you are, how the world sees you, how you present yourself to the world. It's your personality. It's an aspect of your personality because you also have your rising sign as well. So the sun, obviously, we know takes a year. We have goes around the sun in a year, and the sun is in each sign of the zodiac for about 30 odd days. So it's about a degree a day for the sun to move through the signs. It's the kind of minute hand on the clock, so to speak. Your rising sign is the hour hand. The moon, okay, the moon is revolving around the earth. It takes 28 days to do a few cycle. So the moon is in a sign for about 2 to 3 days in each sign. So it takes a cycle of the lunar cycle is 28 days for it to go around the entire signs of the zodiac, which is why it's the shortest cycle. It rules our emotions, and the moon rules Cancer, which is why Cancerians are very sensitive and very emotional people, because they're ruled by the moon. The moon is emotional. And obviously we have a full moon and a new moon, and these are lunar cycles. The new moon is the beginning of each cycle, and the full moon is the end of it, not the end, but halfway through the cycle, because it's got to go all the way back through the rest of the signs. Mercury rules communications, how we talk, our thoughts, our thinking processes. It rules the sign of Gemini, which is an air sign, and takes roughly 25 days to go through each sign of the zodiac. How Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year, and then it is about 6 weeks in the sign. We have Venus. Venus, well, a lot of astrologers say that Venus rules Taurus and Libra. I'm more inclined to say that Venus rules Libra and Taurus is ruled by the Earth. Just my point of view. A few astrologers think that as well. However, I kind of believe that Venus, is a Libra thing, because Libra is the opposite sign to Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars. You see, so Mars and Venus opposite. Anyway, 28 days in the sign. It rules love, what we love, how we value ourselves, what we value in life, our partnerships, our relationships. Is deep romantic love, deep kind of intense love for another human being. Venus goes retrograde every 18 months thereabouts, and is then in a sign for up to 2 months, although may move backwards from one sign into another and goes back in again. It's always best to check the retrograde cycles, because Venus, most of the smaller planets like Venus and Venus, Mercury, and Mars will move backwards from one sign into another sign, and then moves forwards again in its cycle. Because it's not really moving backwards; it just seems like it's moving backwards because of the way the Earth goes around the Sun. Mars rules Aries, and Mars obviously is the old god of war. It's about energy, assertiveness, action, moving forwards, pushing forwards. It rules Aries, the sign of Aries. Mars is about 44 days in a sign and takes roughly 18 months or so to move through all the signs of the zodiac. However, he does go retrograde about every 18 months to 2 years, when you can spend like 4 months in one sign. So that's a long time. Jupiter is a year in a sign. The only sign he's not here in the sign is Aries for some reason, and it tends to be 6 to 8 months. Not too sure why that is, but Jupiter obviously goes retrograde every year as well and spends up to 6 months retrograde in a sign, moving backwards before moving forwards again. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Jupiter's luck, expansions, exuberance, extravagance. Jupiter is really the party sign of the zodiac, party planet of the zodiac. He loves the good time, he loves to expand things, you know. And then we move on to Saturn, and Saturn is the opposite of Jupiter. Saturn rules Capricorn and is in a sign for 2 to 3 years. A Saturn return is a very significant part of astrology. Normally you get your Saturn return between 20 and 30 years old, thereabouts. And for me, you do not grow up until you get a Saturn return. If I date a man, he has to have had his Saturn return, because you do not grow up until you had your Saturn return. And there's a lot of young astrologers out there think they're the bee's knees. Sorry, until you get a Saturn return, you ain't fucking growing up, because your Saturn return is really difficult, challenging period of your work. Saturn rules Capricorn. It's all about hard work, decisions. I see Saturn as the abusive father in the zodiac. I see Jupiter as of a supportive, loving father. I see Saturn as abusive father. He don't do emotions. He don't do love. It's hard fucking work. He makes it work really, really, really hard, often just for the sake of it. They do say he gives a reward, but to be honest, I've never experienced a Saturn reward ever. You know, in my Saturn return, I didn't experience a reward for all the hard work. He don't do that. You know, he's Capricorn rules, and Saturn is CEOs and corporations. You know, it's about power and dominance. Uranus. Okay, Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. It's all about innovation, change, and humanitarianism, thinking outside the box, being different, being unique. You know, Uranus is in a sign for about 7 years, so it's a fairly long transit. Some people get a Uranus return in their life because it will happen when they're about 84 years old, but you know, many don't. So Uranus is about innovation, rules Aquarius. You know, move on to Neptune. Very few. Before I would imagine nobody has had a Neptune return, because you'd have to be at least 140 fucking years old to get a Neptune return. Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, all about dreams and illusions and Christ consciousness, escapism, addiction. All of those things are in the film of Neptune. You know, he was the god of the sea, of water. You know, the oceans. When we get to Pluto, okay, Pluto hasn't been a planet, is a planet, isn't a planet. I keep switching and swapping. Pluto, for me, rules Scorpio. Okay, people say Mars rules Scorpio, it varies, but I think Pluto rules Scorpio. Pluto's very deep ruler of the underworld, going underground, deep into the psyche, very deep into things, intense depthness of emotion, of anything. Really kind of the dark night of the soul is Pluto. It's very much a dark night of the soul. Really going in there and uncovering it all. That is Pluto territory. Pluto is about 12 to 31 years, average of 21 years in a sign. It's a very long transit in your sign. Okay. We've not mentioned the ruler of Virgo. Now, people used to say Mercury rules Virgo. I think Chiron rules Virgo. Chiron appears in lots of birth charts now. It's a widely used asteroid. So I think Chiron rules Virgo. Chiron is a wounded healer. Virgos are healers. Virgos are the work-orientated people. So Chiron rules their sign. Chiron's all about healing and using the powers of healing to make your life better, you know. And then we have the nodes. The north nodes are very much about our karma and destiny. So The South Node is, they're both karmic and destiny orientated. A lot of astrologers argue one is one and one is the other. I don't. I think they're both karma and destiny, both combined, working together because they oppose each other. And they spend about 18 months in each sign. So you will have numerous nodes, north node, south node returns in your life, and they will be about every 18 months or so when, every 12 years, 24 years or so, where something big will happen in your life. So you will have several of them, 3 or 4, depending on how long you live for. And you will probably have 2 Chiron returns if you live into your 90s, as I said, Chiron is 4 years. In the sciences, when you're about 47, 48, 49, you will get your Chiron return. Now, you get odd things happen as well. So you quite often will get your Uranus and Saturn semi-return. So that's when they're opposing each other in your natal chart around the same time. Because the universe likes to do things like that to you. So that is, again, it's in your 40s, early to mid 40s. So quite often people call that your midlife crisis, but that is an example of Saturn and Uranus both opposing each other around the same time in your life. So depending on where it falls in your houses is where the action takes place. All right, thank you.